Hello everyone, Nerdfrodo-san here, continuing to look at these old drawings of mine and try to remember whatever I can about the characters they were meant to represent. If you are jumping in just in this video for some reason, we're in the villains of the supervillain universe inspired by like Marvel and DC. The next character we had lined up here was Mesmery. Mesmery was a seductress type villain. You could probably guess by her outfit. She's got like basically a. Let's see if I can get more of the drawing here. She's got like a black bikini and these black like latex gloves, but she's also got this like sheer dress. I don't know if you can tell. You can see the ring here that connects it. But it's just like this see-through open. Not even really a dress, but it's completely open in the front. But I don't remember what the inspiration for that was. I think probably something Mystique from the X-Men War would be my guess. But she was supposed to be like a seductress type, like a Delilah, I guess. But I think she also had like either like hypnotic power or like a pheromone based power. In comics, if you aren't familiar, there's several characters who have like the power of like super strong pheromones. So basically, just being around them makes them more attractive than they normally would be. And if they're already attractive, like Mesmery here is meant to be, then that just becomes even amplified further. But I don't remember what the case was. I don't know if you can see the erased original name for this character was Beauty. I don't know why she was called that, but I changed it to Mesmery, which I thought sounded better. But anyway, that's basically her whole character. I think probably she was going to be less of like a main villain that you see the superhero fight at the end of the story in the big final climax, and more of like somebody who would trick the hero or would work with another villain in order to help that villain get their goals. Something like that, probably. Next is Mirage. Mirage was a character I really liked. I don't remember if this character, what the intended gender was with this character. It's a little hard to tell based on the body type. I think this was meant to be a female character, though. But Mirage's power, well, first of all, Mirage was like a thief but also could double as like a spy for hire, or somebody to gather information, or just to do specific thieving jobs, things like that. But she was just somebody that you could hire to do stuff. And she didn't have a superpower, but she had special gadgetry that would allow her to create illusions to trick people. She was based in part off of a Batman Beyond villain, who, if you watch Batman Beyond, you probably remember, because he was always like one of the most iconic villains from that series for me. But he was somebody that had like an eyeball that if you looked into it, it would make you think you were doing something else, and that would cause you to behave irrationally, put yourself in danger, things like that. And I think Mirage was meant to be basically the same type of villain. Because I just thought that was a really interesting superpower that you could use in a lot of interesting ways. And like that character showed up in Batman Beyond at least 3 times, which was more than he had to. His first story was all you really needed for the character, but they brought him back because he was interesting, and I agreed, and so I wanted to have a character like that. But I also just had this design. I don't remember if what this was specifically inspired by. If this was inspired by like a comic book character or what. But I still really like this design. I'm happy with this character. This is a character I probably wouldn't change a whole lot if I was going to do anything with these characters today, which I'm not planning to. But if that was something I would do. Okay. Last episode, I talked about having a group of characters based on the Generation X from the WWF, and this is X-Pac. Mr. X is a shapeshifter. He's, but not like, I don't know, not like Beast Boy or like Metamorpho or something like that. But I pictured him being I pictured him like he would be animated, which is weird because this wasn't an animation project. It was either going to be completely prose or it was going to be, at best, like a comic with still images. But I still pictured him kind of moving about a bit like, I guess, like how Madame Rouge is animated in the Teen Titans cartoon. If you've seen that, where she looks almost liquid when she changes shape, and even her design has sort of this look to her, like something's like off, like part of her face might be sliding a little bit, but it's hard to explain. But that was kind of what I was trying to capture here with the way his like he's got all this space up here, and then down here it's all like squished together, almost like there's like gravity is affecting his face. Was kind of the way I wanted him to be designed, and the same, you can see the same way with like the way his body slopes. I was trying to capture that same Madame Rouge type look, but that was Mr. X. He could change shape or form. I guess kind of like another example might be like Plastic Man, but you know, villainous plastic. Like if Plastic Man hadn't reformed when he got superpowers. And that's it. And he was part of the DX group because he was the analog for X-Pac in that group. Moving on, Misty here. I'm trying to remember. This character is based off of, I think her name is Thunder from The Outsiders. Like just the drawing, like not the character itself, but the drawing came from The Outsiders. The version with Nightwing leading the team. But I don't remember anything about the character. I'm guessing from the name that she probably had water powers, but there's nothing in her design that specifically speaks towards water powers or water theme. So I don't know. I probably just really liked this drawing and wanted to recreate it. And then once I had recreated it, I just threw a name on there. And I probably came up with something off the top of my head, but I think I probably just really wanted to redraw this drawing. So I really liked The Outsiders for a while, and I was reading the comics, and I liked this character that this was stolen from. She doesn't look exactly like her, but she looks enough like her that I recognize the drawing. But yeah, that's not a lot of originality going on here. Whatever ideas I had for this character have been lost in my memory. I can't remember it all. But I still like the design. I would probably still try to make something up for her. Let's see, Monarch. So Monarch was... I'm trying to think of a way to describe him. He was like a would-be conqueror. Like he was just a guy. I don't even remember for sure if he had superpowers. I can't remember a specific superpower was set to him, but he was just like this guy with this like megalomaniac delusion that he could like conquer the world. Like I want to say his goal was to like start out conquering like a small area and then just keep expanding. And it's like a crazy thing that you couldn't do. There's lots of like parody villains in things like in Excel Saga or Phineas and Ferb, where you see these villains who are trying to conquer just like a city with the intent of turning that into eventually world domination. But you got to start small when you aren't already ruling a country, you know. And I think that was his idea, and then like the name Monarch comes from that. But I don't remember if he actually had powers, and he might have been intended as a joke. I'm to go back to Batman Beyond, there was a character whose name escapes me, but he was just this guy that would try to blow up buildings and would have these crazy anti-establishment rants while trying to like blow up a building, and then Batman would take him out, and it was a joke. He was never a challenge, and he was never the main villain. Or like in Danny Phantom, like the Box Ghost, I guess. So he might have been meant to be like that kind of villain, who's not the main threat and doesn't pose a real threat, except when he does. Because with that type of character, you always got to do at least one story down the line once the pattern's been established where you subvert it, and for some reason something's changed, and now that character is a threat. And that would be fun to do with this character. If maybe he didn't have superpowers, but then eventually, after being taken down by any number of superheroes, he gets his hands on some vibranium, and that gives him a superpower or something that makes him a credible threat that then has to be dealt with, but nobody takes him seriously at first because of his reputation. I think that would be fun. So that, as best I can recall, that's what this character was. I don't know why he had the skulls all over him. I guess he probably thought it was cool. I don't know if you can see, he's got one on his belt too, but he's also got the chest piece. But other than that, he's just got like this black latex outfit with this like utility belt almost, and it looks like he might have a backpack or something. There's something back here. I don't remember what the deal was with that. Anyway, moving on. Monster. So I had mentioned I wasn't sure if I would recognize characters from the X group, but when I saw this guy, I remembered. Yeah, this is Triple H, and he's bigger than the China character who was supposed to be Maxima, who was supposed to be the muscle of the group. And that might be because, like, he's not always like this. This might have been a Hulk situation where he changes or doesn't have full control over it. I do remember the color design, because I thought it was cool, was that he was had blue skin and blonde hair. I think he always had blonde hair, but he had, when he's all muscly like this, his skin turns blue. Or maybe he was always blue. I don't remember. I do think he isn't always big and powerful like this. And normally he would operate more as just like the ringleader of the group and the brains of the group. But then at certain times when like the heroes would be about to win, then he would like Hulk out or whatever, and then that would turn the tide back to the villain's favor, and then the heroes would have to overcome at the last moment to win out against this group. Now that I've recognized this character, I feel pretty confident I'll recognize anyone else in the group. Yeah, I think I actually remember just thinking who the remaining members are. So I'll talk about that when we get to them. Multiple. I don't know why she's posed like this. Like, looking at the anatomy, I don't even think this was the pose of the original, like, whatever drawing I might have been looking at when drawing this. If I was looking at one, I don't remember. She's got a little multiplication sign on her belt. It's not an X, it's a multiplication, because this is a character that can duplicate herself, obviously. I think even if I didn't remember this character, I would just deduce that from the name. But yeah, this was just a character who could make any number of duplicates of herself and become like a one-person army, basically. And I think that's kind of it. I just wanted a character that could do that. And so there you go. I just wanted a villain like that. I think probably at the time I drew this, I was watching Teen Titans and saw Billy Numerous in that show, and I thought, that would be cool. I like that idea for a villain. And that's kind of all there is to her. I don't think I had any other plans for her besides just the basic concept. Moving on, the Namesake Killer. This is another of the serial killer type villains. If you remember from previous episodes when I talked about the Doctor or the Hangman, they were just non-powered serial killer threats for the Shadow to take out. And because the whole story with the Shadow was that he would take out several high-profile, very well-known public threats, and that would gain him this kind of idolatry in the, I don't even know if that's the right word, but he would become this big pop culture figure before eventually being taken down because he drew too much attention to himself, basically. And this was one of those characters. The Namesake Killer was a character who, I don't even know if this would work. At the time when I was a teenager, I thought it would, but he would carve the names of his victims into his bullet before firing it, and he was kind of like a sniper. I don't know why he has a handgun here, because he probably would have been using a sniper rifle, but I guess maybe he didn't. But he was just like he would carve the name into the bullet, and then like forensics would find the bullet in the body and be like, look, he carved the person's name into it. And that's where the papers would call him the Namesake Killer. Now, I don't know enough about how guns and bullets work to know if that is something that would be possible, or like that. Like I assume if you're meticulous enough, you could carve into something as small as a bullet. But I don't. The way bullets work, I know they have a shell casing that doesn't end up inside the body. So maybe I don't know. I'd have to do research to know if this would even be something that would like work for a gimmick of a serial killer. But when I was a kid, I thought it was a cool idea. When I was like a teenager, when I was making this, beyond that, his design, I was just thinking like the typical like crazed Vietnam vet like you would see on TV. When I was a kid, there would be characters who would be Vietnam vets who would be like suffering from like PTSD or whatever, and would have like they would be wearing bandanas and have long hair and beards and I don't know if there's a name for that type of character, but he was design wise just kind of based off of that that aesthetic. I don't know if he was a vet or not, but 'cause I don't remember what backstory I had for him, if any. That was probably it. It's just that he was like a PTSD soldier or something. I would change that if I was doing it now. But anyway, that's that character. That's all there was to him. Night Stalker. I think I bumped the camera there. Trying to remember anything about this character besides just I think I just saw the is it Cassandra Cain? Is that the name of the Batgirl I'm thinking of? I think there was just like a Batman type design that I wanted to do that, but I remember specifically wanting these stitches. But like if you take Batman out of the origin story, like these big ears on the cowl don't make any sense, unless I guess maybe they could be like devil horns or something. I don't know. I don't think I had anything for this character besides the design. Like when I was drawing it, I might have thought, oh, like maybe he's like this or he's like that. But I don't remember. I don't even remember if he had superpowers or if this might have been like a villain that predated the superpowers being exposed to this universe, or it could even be a non-powered villain after that. Because when I'm looking at this character, I'm not remembering any superpowers tied to him that I had in mind. So he might have just been like I think I just wanted to make like a creepy looking dude with stitches on his outfit. I don't know. But yeah, that's it. I wish I had more to say about him, because I do think there's something to this aesthetic and this design that I could use. I just don't know offhand if I had anything in mind, because I don't think I did. Moving on, Onisuke. I'm blanking on the exact translation for this. Like obviously there's Oni, which is like a devil or a demon, and I think he was just supposed to be like a Yakuza type boss. Like I think the idea was that he was like a Yakuza boss, or the Yakuza boss. I don't think I knew anything about the Yakuza at the time. Like I still don't know a lot really. I know like enough, but I'm not an expert, and I probably knew even less when I made this character. But like I'm pretty sure he's like just like a normal looking guy that wears this mask while doing evil Yakuza stuff. I drew veins into his hands here. I don't know what the intent was with that. It's possible that this was going to be a character who like wore a business suit around all the time, and then when he was finally confronted by a superhero, he would like take the suit off, and you would see that he was like roided out, ripped to shreds type body, and then he would pose a more physical threat than originally thought. I want to say this was a character tied to Henshin, which was my other big Japanese character, and the only superhero one that I can recall offhand right now. But I don't remember. But that was, I would say probably I had Henshin, because Henshin was an early character, and this was much later. So probably I was just thinking, Henshin doesn't have any actual like villains or like an arch enemy or anything like that, and so I just kind of made this guy to play that role. And I think he had super strength. Like I want to say, okay, I'm remembering things as I'm talking because I think that was the plan, and I think the plan was that if you remember Henshin, his backstory was that he was trying to create something akin to a super soldier serum for Japan, and ended up being forced to test it on himself due to like cut funding or his project being taken away from him, and it didn't work quite right, and that's how he became this, basically the Hulk. He just became this big monster that was like terrorizing Japan. And I think Onisuke was supposed to somehow acquire and perfect that serum so that he would, not turn into this huge hulking monster, but would still get the super strength, retain his humanity and his self-control, and would come head to head with Henshin in that regard. And I think that was the plan. I I feel a bit shaky saying that because I didn't remember that immediately, but the more I was looking at the drawing, the more I was thinking about the way my brain would have worked when making this, the more I thought, that's probably what I was doing. Looking at my timer, it looks like we're about out of time. So when we come back, we will talk about Ox and Phantam. What is it, Phantam? I don't... Okay, well, I'll talk about these two characters and some more. We just got a handful left. We're into the O's and P's now. So I'll hopefully see you guys next time. Bye.